Welcome to World11 News Channel.
RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17 star Hormona Lisa won't let her community go down without pushing back against President Donald Trump. Particularly the controversial politicians recently signed executive order banning trans women from women's sports. In her Entertainment Weekly exit interview following her elimination from the ongoing competition, Hormona, a Tennessee-based queen and trans community organizer who served as the president of Chattanooga Pride for 4 years, reacts to Trump's transphobic order. On Wednesday, Trump signed the order, titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports, in an effort to give institutions that receive federal funding the power to bar trans women and girls from participating in girls' and women's sports. Something I've always tried to do is validate and love myself where I don't need it externally, and that's something we're going to have to all focus on developing, especially over these next 4 years. It's not going to be the last thing to happen towards trans and queer people in general, Hormona tells EW when asked about her thoughts on the development. It makes it more important to know what you bring to the table and that it has value. If somebody else doesn't think it does, from legislation or from this current sitting crazy president. I don't know what to think. I'm struggling to put the words together because it doesn't feel like that's what's happening. We're kind of going in a different direction these last 4 years, with public perception of trans people, then you have stuff like this come up. It feels surreal. Hormona adds that it feels like the country is going backwards with queer people and people of color, especially after Trump's multiple maneuvers against the trans community since his January 20th inauguration, which also include potentially banning trans people from the military, complicating funding for gender-affirming healthcare for trans youth, and limiting gender topics in schools. It's hard to find the words to describe how I feel, because I didn't think I'd have to feel like this in my lifetime, Hormona says. I thought fighting to be valued as a person and seen as a person was over with. From here, more visibility, but now we're going backwards with how these people don't see us as human. It's crazy and hard to find words. Hormona's words come amid a wave of pushback to Trump's targeting of the trans community, with actress Laverne Cox recently appearing on The View for an interview in which she also called out the Trump administration for hawking what she called propaganda and lies against the LGBTQ+ community. At the end of the day, trans people are less than 1% of the population. Trans people are not the reason you can't afford eggs. They're not the reason you can't afford health care. We're not the reason that you can't buy a house or your rent is too high. I think they're focused on the wrong 1%. I think the other 1% is the reason for all those things, she said. For my trans siblings, we must not allow ourselves to be victimized by this. Take care of your mental health. Understand that we come from a legacy of ancestors and transcestors who've been criminalized before and found a way to get access to gender-affirming care. Maybe not from a doctor, but we did it. We've been doing it, and we will always do it no matter what. Elsewhere on this week's episode of Drag Race, Hormona and Lexi Love, another trans contestant on Season 17, celebrated getting to meet guest judge Hunter Schafer, while the Euphoria actress visited the Queens for a pep talk during the Untucked Companion series. I'm literally having a panic attack in my brain. I can feel the trans power radiating through. I am so grateful that Hunter is gracing us with her presence in this moment, Lexi said of Schafer's appearance. During her meeting with the contestants, Schafer bonded with Lexi and Hormona after asking them if they were the trans dolls of the season. Oh my God! Damn! Wow! Thanks for being here and representing, Shafta told Hormona and Lexi, before raising her fist into the air to show her support.